Alternative Fat Chicago.
Chicago's #1 podcast.
Chicago. The city of Chicago. Alternative Fat Chicago.
Chicago's #1 podcast.
Audio file production.
The city of Chicago.
This is episode 85 of Alternative Fact Chicago. This is B.Hun back on the line.
With Cait, and this episode 85 is brought to you by The Chi and our friends over at Showtime. The critically acclaimed series The Chi is back again. New episodes here in April. The heart and soul of Chicago's South Side lies in its community, but when your world is a daily struggle just to get by, can you rise up and stand tall to realize a better tomorrow? Watch as Ronnie, Brandon, Emmett, and Kevin confront the tough choices that will shape their futures on The Chi. It's created and executive produced by Emmy winner Lena Waithe and Academy Award winner Common. Check out the new season of The Chi premiering Sunday, April 7th. New episodes going on now. And your free month at showtime.com using the promo code ALTERNATIVE.
Yeah, and I've been watching the show. I've seen the first 2 episodes of the season. I think it's been dope. What do you think so far?
It's been awesome. Yeah, really, really good show. I had never watched it until recently, but I used my free month of Showtime and I got caught up and I'm like addicted to season 2. So it's been so good.
Have you seen season 1 yet, or did you just start right with season 2?
Yeah, I saw season 1. I used my free month to catch up on season 1 and I watched that. I think I really finished that in 3 days. Like I binge watched it so hard. It was so good.
I feel that. It's definitely binge watchable. I mean, It's definitely intriguing, enticing. It's easy to follow. The storyline's good. So I'm glad that season 2 is going great. It seems like it's gotten great feedback as well, too. So I'm a fan of the show. I love it. Thanks for all you have signed up as well so far using our promo code Alternative. Make sure you keep doing so. It expires on May the 6th. So you do still have a few weeks left of that. But glad to be back. Unfortunately, obviously, we did have to miss last week's episode. Life, things happen. And of course, unfortunately, our homie Cait was sick. You feeling better?
Yeah, I am. You know this, but I had a really bad case of the flu. And before I ever moved to Chicago, like when people talked about getting the flu, I just like didn't understand because you don't get sick with things like that in the South as often, or maybe just I didn't know. But man, this is my second year in a row getting the flu in the winter, and both times I have been like out of commission. Like last year I fainted on the steps and had to go to the hospital because I had like no fluids in my system. And then this year the same thing happened. I had like no fluids. Both years I had to get hooked up to an IV. It has been, I don't know, the flu like has kicked my ass 2 years in a row. It's insane. And last year I got a flu shot and this year I didn't. So if you're wondering if it makes a difference, it doesn't if your name is Cait, I guess, because either way I am super susceptible to the flu.
You got bad juju all around you.
I guess, man. Someone's got a voodoo doll of me out there. That's what it is. So
that's a fact. I've never gotten a flu shot before, and it's been a long time since I've actually had the flu. I've been sick, but never the flu. So I feel like the whole flu shot thing is a farce. If you get it, you may get sick. If you don't get it, you still might get sick. So clearly you're full proof of that.
I'm literally proof. Yeah. So anyway, it was a rough couple days. It was a rough weekend. I was sick all weekend, trapped in the house, didn't do anything except watch The Chi and get over my sickness. So
well, there you go.
Yeah. Glad to be back. Glad to be normal again and thriving.
Well, that's good to hear. So we do apologize for missing last week's episode. We know it's very rare. We try to be as consistent as any podcast out there, being 85 episodes deep. So hopefully it will not happen again, but obviously life and things happen. Definitely something that I really can't control, but glad to be back and talking with you today. So you're back. You're feeling good?
Yeah.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Awesome. We're going to have a great episode. We have a lot to discuss, a lot to catch up on. It's been an interesting couple of weeks, but first we should definitely plug our social media.
Yeah, make sure you're joining in the conversation on Facebook, also on Instagram. Our username is Alternative Fact Chicago. And then, of course, we're on Twitter. B.Hun is always out there tweeting. Check it out, A Fact Chicago. You can follow me on Twitter at Cait Hassett, that's Cait, and on Instagram, Cait No Jenner.
Yep, and you can follow me at B.Hun 1984. Once again, that is BHUN 1984. Our Facebook, Alternative Fact Chicago, is blowing up all the time. We always appreciate the engagement. We like to put articles, stories of all types, from music, sports, entertainment, politics, you name it, it's on there, so make sure you check that out as well. Obviously, you can email us at alternativefactchicago@gmail.com for all sponsorship ideas, show ideas, live podcast ideas. We're always up for any ideas that you may have, so make sure you do so as well. Definitely thank you for your support. We've had some new reviews go up on iTunes, so please keep those coming at Alternative Fact Chicago. And then also Spotify, you can listen to our show, as well as Google Play, Podbean, SoundCloud, any major area you can listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. So we appreciate the support. And with that support, we always have a fan of the week. I told you about this, Cait, but
yeah, I'm excited.
This one is actually crazy. So she is actually going to get our fan of the week this week. So obviously, being down here in Florida, got a pretty big office. There is this girl, her name's Kristen Shogel, who actually she lived in Chicago for many years. She actually just moved here recently to Florida, and she, for some random reason, I guess, someone on the other side of the office was talking about Alternative Fact Chicago, since I am one of the co-hosts. And she obviously just moved here to Florida, and when she heard Alternative Fact Chicago, she was like, I listen to that show all the time. And it was crazy because they were, and one of the guys in the office was like, you know, he actually works here in our office, right? And she was like, who? No, she had actually just started, so she had absolutely no idea. So he walked her down to my side of the office, introduced me, and, you know, obviously put two and two together, and she figured out that I was one of the co-hosts, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, I saw online, and there was some post saying that, you know, Alternative Fact Chicago was like Chicago's #1 podcast, and I've been listening ever since. And she was like, yeah, yo, you're great. She's like, Cait's like super funny. I listen all the time. So, no, it was dope, but just crazy to see. So, Kristen, if you're listening to this episode, definitely, we appreciate you. That was actually crazy, the fact that you're actually down here in Florida and already listening to Alternative Fact Chicago. So this goes to show we are all over the place, but we appreciate you all listening. And thank you, of course, for being our fan of the week.
Hell yeah, that's amazing. When you told me that story, I was in awe. That's so crazy. Shout out to you. Is it Kirsten or Kristen?
Kirsten. It's Kirsten.
Awesome. Shout out to you. New friend, apparently, longtime supporter. So we appreciate you so much.
Yeah, that was dope. That was random. When she said, at first, after the fact, I went back to my boy. I was like, did you put her up for this? Did you actually tell her to do this?
Was this on April 1st? Like, was this like a prank or?
That's what I was thinking. But no.
Yeah, that's wild.
Legit,
like small
you know,
world for real.
That is crazy. So shout out to her. We appreciate it. Thank you all for listening. Hopefully, we won't have to miss any more weeks. But you know what? We're going to have an extra special good show just for that.
Extra special good show.
Speaking of extra special, though, man, Tiger Woods. And I don't know if you got a chance to see Sunday at the Masters, but I watched it, and I tried not to cry. And, man, when Tiger Woods won the Masters and, like, his kid ran and jumped into his arms, man, I was like, come on, man. It was a moment, and I feel like if you have a heart or soul or have kids or just if you ever dealt with anything in life and had to go through something like that, to see the comeback story was amazing. You had to share a tear or you have no freaking soul. So obviously Tiger Woods won the Masters, had a great comeback story. We wanted to discuss now, is this possibly the greatest sports comeback story you have ever seen?
Listen, I'm not the person to talk to about this. I'm not. And I'll tell you why. Because, like, okay, yes, this was a comeback story, but everything Tiger Woods came back from, he put himself through. Let's be honest. His whole life all of his
Okay.
all of the adversity he's been fighting, he put himself through. He cheated and ruined his marriage. He got the DUI. He got himself in trouble. He lost his sponsorships. This was all him. And then he started losing, because we see that happen in everyday life, where your career goes down the drain when your personal life's going down the drain. So I personally am not probably the right person to talk to about this, because he put himself through it. This wasn't like he went through some injury and, you know what I mean, like, and had to like fight back, or was like a, you know what I mean? We see way more motivational stories in the world, and I just don't really feel like this is one of them. I feel like he was like big and bad, and he got really full of himself, and he was on top, and then he crushed his whole world. And now everybody's like, it's a comeback story. And I'm like, well, you started it. Like, you started this whole thing. I don't know. Like, that's how I feel.
I think you're missing some holes in the story, though. Yes, obviously he had the cheating scandal, which you can't deny that. Obviously,
Right.
things happen. I totally get that. He lost his father as well. His career just kind of derailed after that. He made some changes with his coaches as well too. But then you have to remember, and people probably forget this. Obviously, he had like the sex addiction, and had to go to rehab. But people also forget he had a lot of major injuries over the past 10 years. Like, he had back injuries. I think he had like knee injuries. And it went to the point where they even didn't think he was supposed to even, or was even going to play golf again at one point in time. So outside of like the marriage and the personal life scandals, he went through a lot of physical injuries that most golfers don't ever really come back from. So I think that's a part that I think you're probably missing in all this, which kind of helps in the comeback story. But obviously, if you get up so high, like you're so high at one point in life, there's only one way to go, and that is down. And I think at one point, obviously, he had to have hit rock bottom. Even when he came back from golf, a couple of years back, he sucked. Like, his swing
Right.
wasn't the same, confidence wasn't the same. People on social media, people in the media, like Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, the Herd with Colin Cowherd, they all said he would never win a major again. And I know for a fact, because I saw the clips, that they all backtracked and they apologized and said that they were wrong, which is kudos to do, because all of them had the boo-boo face, and it's just a great story to see. So, yes, obviously, he did have some hardships with the cheating and all that, but I think overall, I think you're sliding him a little bit, because people do have falls, but the comeback from the fall is a great story, and I think it's great and encouraging to see that someone can do that. That's why I think it's an amazing story, probably the best that I've ever seen, even over any athlete that we've seen so far.
Yeah, see, and I didn't really know like as much about the injuries, because like I said, well, I don't watch golf anyway, but like I said, like the stuff that was in the media was all the stuff that he had done to himself. So
Right.
I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you put yourself through it. But yeah, in terms of the injuries, then cool, good for you. I mean, cool for Tiger regardless. You know what I mean? He's the golf man. Like, he's the one that's known
The
for
golf
it.
man.
Yeah, for sure. He like shattered stereotypes, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing against him saying that he didn't work hard or that this wasn't like a feat, but I feel like a lot of the issues that he bounced back from, we're forgetting that he also put himself through. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, but obviously no one's perfect. And I feel like a lot of times people like look down at him. Man, I was outside one day walking, and some people overheard us talking about Tiger Woods. Man, this white dude got pissed. Just talking about like, Tiger Woods, because this was last Saturday. Obviously, he was coming back in the tournament, and this dude was pissed as I was saying, man, I hope he wins. Like, I'm rooting for him. And so I was like, man, he got caught cheating. And I was like, bro, like, did you get cheated on in the past or something like that? That dude was not happy with me. I swear it struck a nerve with him, because he had so much like anger towards Tiger Woods. And I was like, bro, you make $500 million and then come talk to me about what happens in your life. So obviously, I'm not saying he was right for anything that he did, but you put $500 million in front of anyone's face, and who knows where the life turn is going to take you. So I understand things happen. He's made up for it. He seems like genuinely happy in his life. Like, he was the most calm I've ever seen him on a golf course. Like, he never got rattled. He wasn't like throwing his golf clubs or cursing like he normally would. He just seemed like a guy like comfortable in his own skin as a golfer now, and it was just great to see. Like, he, even to the point to where his comeback story is even better than like Michael Jordan's comeback story from when he like left basketball, went to baseball because of his dad died and came back. I think this is even like bigger than that. It's one of like the best or most memorable sports moments I've ever seen in my lifetime, and I've seen a lot of them. I'm not sure if you can agree or not, but that was just an amazing moment, in sports. And anyone can appreciate that someone came back from a moment like that. So kudos, shout out to Tiger. Has my full support. He's the man for that.
Cool. Good for him.
Sound like you're not really about it. Is it because
mean,
he got caught cheating or what?
I mean, no, I mean, it's cool. I mean, I'm good. Like, I'm happy for him. I cheered for him when he won. That was a cool moment. I'm just not as passionate about it as you are, apparently. And also, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, the cheating thing, yeah, you could say whatever you want, but I mean, he broke up a family. I don't know. I have an issue with that. And he went on all the late night television and never apologized, never even acted remorseful. He actually went on like Jimmy Kimmel and said his one mistake in his life was not staying at Stanford an extra year. And Jimmy Kimmel was like hinting about him cheating on his wife. And he was just like, no, absolutely. My only mistake in life was not staying at Stanford. I mean, I have a lack of respect for people that just like mess up their own families like that. I don't know, you know.
Maybe he felt like it happened for a reason then.
I mean, that's cool. Yeah. And every cheater in their whole lives can say that they cheated for a reason.
Oh gosh, here we go.
No, it's not here we go. It's just my standpoint.
I hear that.
It's my alternative facts.
I feel that. Hey, let Tiger be great. He's back. He's better than ever.
Great.
Everyone that doubted him has the boo-boo face, and I'm glad they're all backtracking in the media. So it's actually just funny to see, and I think Tiger Woods is going to have a big year. But I think it's been a great moment in terms of like sports. There's been a lot of crazy things happening. So we'll talk more about it here in a few moments. But shout out Tiger Woods.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on to some other sports news. So after the Los Angeles Lakers season finale, we all knew that a change was expected, a change at head coach, a change among the roster. Those were all guaranteed, but in an abrupt resignation from Magic Johnson as the Lakers president of basketball, we weren't expecting that change. He stepped down very unexpectedly. Why do you think that is? What do you think happened?
So I think that there was honestly just too much pressure put on him. And honestly, I feel like he just missed, and he said it many, many times, he just missed being Magic Johnson. Like, he missed being the man. He missed just being able to go out, travel the country, be an ambassador of the NBA, be able to work with college kids, be able to go speak at schools, be able to go chill at Michigan State, you know, just be in LA. Obviously, he has the Dodgers that he has to, being able to go to baseball games and chill. I think just the day-to-day operations of what it means being president of basketball operations for the Los Angeles Lakers, it just got to him. And I think he just wasn't really focused on that enough to really make it successful. That's part one. Two, having LeBron James there, just having LeBron James, the presence of him, what he brings, it's very stressful. Anytime when anyone was in Cleveland, anytime people were in Miami, it said it's very hard to be on LeBron James' team just because of everything that comes with it in the media, how much he wants to win, just everything that comes with LeBron James. So I think those factors, when LeBron James him and LeBron James tried to trade the entire team for Anthony Davis, that didn't work, and the team collapsed after that. That probably weighed on him. Honestly, I think Magic just said, screw it. I want to be Magic. I want to chill. It's not my problem. I'll be a Lakers great forever. But you know what, Jeannie? This ain't for me. So, honestly, I think that's the main reasons why he did it. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I totally in line with that. I think the majority of it probably had to do with how much pressure there was in the position. Like, besides the fact that he, has his hands in a lot of other buckets and does a lot of philanthropy, like you said, like with the youth, and he's got other things going on in his life. Like, I feel like the Lakers really brought in Magic Johnson and LeBron James to, save the organization. You could say change, you could say innovate, but really it's save, attach a name to us and save us, bring us back, tell us what we're doing wrong. And aside the fact that they're doing a lot of things wrong, that's just a lot of pressure. Magic Johnson might not have felt like he had the operational skills to be able to do that. Not everybody, just because he was good at basketball and he's a good coach and he's a good that doesn't mean he necessarily has the bandwidth or the ability to be able to be the president of the organization at the level that they needed him to be. So, I mean, I'm sure it was just the pressure and he decided it was too much, but I'm glad that he did it now and early on rather than waiting till it became like a resentful issue or people really started like pointing fingers at him for not making enough change or doing enough. Because I think that could really happen, particularly with somebody like LeBron James as a part of the organization, because I feel like LeBron James, likes to point blame a lot. So I feel like it was early, and that was
Facts.
smart.
What?
LeBron James never does anything wrong, right? He never fouls anybody. He never is the
Hey.
issue on the court. So
And
I mean,
LeBron
that's
James
just
is
real.
chilling right now. It's the first year he hasn't made the playoffs in a long time. He doesn't care. He hasn't said a word. He's probably been recording mad episodes of The Shop on HBO.
Right.
He didn't give a crap about the season. You can tell. I mean, obviously he did pretty good, but him losing, he didn't really care. I think he knew going into the season it wasn't going to happen. So he's out of there. And I think Magic saw it too. He was like, I'm not taking blame for this mess. I'm out of here too. So I think the Lakers will be okay if they rebuild the right way. But Magic's like, it just ain't my problem. The crazy part was he did it. Obviously, the season wasn't even over yet. And he said, I'm out of here. He even made the announcement on the night of Dwayne Wade's last game. So it was like, and Dirk Nowitzki's last game too. So I'm like, come on, Magic. Magic always has to find a way to be in the spotlight and will take your shine. So I thought that was a little unique that he did so. But hey, at the end of the day, Magic is always going to be Magic.
Yep. I don't blame him.
What do you think he's going to do next? He's just going to chill, or what do you think's next up for Magic?
I don't know. What else could he do? I don't really know.
Well, I know he's part owner of the Dodgers, so he has
Right.
baseball, whatever that means. I'm sure he doesn't do much there. Just probably, cash his checks or signs checks. But what else is he going to do there? He's just going to chill and be Magic.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just living his best life.
I feel like he's been living his best life since he got cured of AIDS or HIV or whatever he had back in the 90s. He's been straight chilling, which that's still a mystery. We'll probably never figure out how the hell that happened.
Oh, goodness.
Money, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a conspiracy theory to go behind that. Anyway.
Absolutely. Next.
Okay,
let's move on to some music. And we were going to talk about this last week, but obviously we were out. So I definitely still want to touch on this. The Lil Nas X song that's taken over Billboard. Man, at first I was like, man, this song sucks. And I was like, actually, you know what? This song is so bad that it's actually a good song. I don't mind it, but that's not the biggest song, whether the song quality is good or not. But Billboard initially removed Lil Nas X song from the country chart, saying it was not country. In a G Savage move, Billy Ray Cyrus, he got added to the remix. I think it's verse of the year. Don't have me on that one. But now it is the number one. I know, I'm definitely trolling, even though it is funny, but I'm still trolling.
Right.
But it is now the number one song on Billboard, has been for a couple of weeks. It shattered Drake's, I think, God's Plan, like, streaming record. Right. This dude might be here to stay. I actually heard another song from this kid, and he actually might be pretty good, this guy from Atlanta, Lil Nas X. But the bigger and better question is, I feel like, and I want to discuss this with you, a lot of songs get marked in certain categories when there's a lot of hypocrisy involved. And when I say that, certain songs get put on certain charts. For example, like Post Malone and Sway Lee's song that they have out, that's considered a hip-hop song, when in reality, it probably really isn't a hip-hop song at all. So there's no issues with these songs getting put on the hip-hop charts when they're mainly R&B or a pop song. But when Lil Nas X song get put on country, they'll yank it right off the chart. So my question for you is, why does this hypocrisy happen in music, and how is it allowed to continue to happen?
I don't consider it a hypocrisy, to be quite honest. I think that country and hip hop are too different, that the crossover doesn't work. So, I worked at a theme park, did marketing for a theme park in South Georgia, and we had concert series every single summer. And so you think about who you cater to in a South Georgia concert series, and we had all the country rappers come out. Like, I can't even think of all their names because I was not at those concerts.
There's country rappers?
Yeah. Oh,
wow.
Yeah. There's country rappers. There's one of the band's names is Grits. There's Colt Ford. Florida Georgia Line. They do some country sounding stuff. I mean, Bubba Sparks, he does songs with,
I've heard of Bubba Sparks.
Yeah, he's like a country rapper. And so there are certain bands. I can't, the Lax. They're one. Kid Rock, I mean, he's kind of a country rapper. And so I feel like people that like country and like rap are completely different. And then there's this whole other genre that likes this country rap. Like when we would have these concerts, there was a very select few people that were there, to be completely honest. And when they showed up at the park that day, you knew who was there for the concert. I'm just being honest. So I feel like I just feel like there's not a lot of crossover in those two genres. Like even when we've seen some crossover like country rap songs in the past, like Bone Thugs and Harmony's Ghetto Cowboy with Mo Thug's Family, you know what I'm saying? Like that was not played on the country stations. Obviously, like Nelly and Tim McGraw Over and Over, that was not played on the country station. So I just feel like the people who like country and the people who like rap don't like the crossover enough that it has to be its own genre.
That's crazy.
And I think it's a little bit different from like the hip hop people that make the hip hop songs and it's like really a pop song. Like I get what you're saying there, but I feel like with these two, it's not a hypocrisy. I feel like it's a different genre because I have no interest. I mean,
so you don't think that
good,
Lil Nas X song has no country vibe to it at all? The first time I heard it, I was like, man, this is definitely a country song.
It definitely does, but I'll tell you straight up, the people who really, really, really like country aren't gonna like it.
Really?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Especially not like the older people that like country. They're definitely gonna like it.
And even adding a Billy Ray Cyrus to the song is not gonna make it more compelling.
No, I don't listen to. I mean, this is just my perspective, but I'd be really surprised if it gets play on country stations that aren't in a major city. So like here in Chicago, I mean, I'm sure there's country stations and people will play it, but like in South Georgia where I lived, I'm sure the country stations aren't playing it because people don't want to hear that kind of stuff.
Well, obviously it's number one on Billboard, so someone's listening to them. When I walk down the street or whatever, I hear it out of cars all the time. People play it in my office all the time. It's mad popular. It is mad catchy. But I think just like why a song like a Sway Lee or Post Malone can be considered hip hop when that song has nothing to do with hip hop and it'll be number one on the hip hop charts. I think like Bruno Mars and the Cardi B song is also like top on the hip hop charts. That is not a hip hop song. So that can automatically just be lumped in and dumped into hip hop when a Lil Nas X song has country vibes to it. And they're like, oh no, get the hell out of here with that. Like this is not country. It still has, the 808s in it. So it's definitely still a hip hop infused song. So I definitely think there's hypocrisy there. I feel like they say anyone that even remotely sounds black in music, it goes hip hop. Everything else has its own genre. When I feel like we're at a place right now where I think a lot more hip hop artists are trying to change things up and go more country. I think there's actually quite a few artists, obviously like Post Malone, like tries to make a little more country vibe to a lot of his music. There are a few other rappers, I think, I can't think of his name right now. Young Thug was even saying he wants to do like more country type songs. So I think we're just at a different age to where they're trying to expand their horizons to just not be lumped in, oh, you're black, so you make hip hop music, or you have to make only one style of music. I think the genre of music overall needs to be more open because I feel like more things like this are going to continue to happen in 2019.
I feel ya. I just don't think, I don't know. I think the crossovers on that one, like to me, like it doesn't fit in country and it doesn't fit in rap. It's a pop song. But that's how I feel about Post Malone and Sway Lee too. Like they don't really fit in R&B and they don't really fit in rap. I feel like it's a pop song. That's just me personally.
But is pop really even a genre or a category? I feel like pop is
it's like a catch-all.
It's like whatever's like mainstream at the time, but like what's really, really, truly considered a pop song? Like, is it the beat? Like, is how like the chorus is played? Like, I feel like pop is more of like a popular thing, but there really is no like this is specifically pop music, if that makes sense. Right. I know that's a tough call there.
No, absolutely. There's not. There's definitely not. Pop music changes all the time. And that's why I feel like it's like the catch-all. It's just like...
You said the catch-all? That's what they call it?
I mean, I do, yeah. I mean, and I was a pop DJ for like a really long time. So I played all those songs and I took all those requests. And it would be like really random, all kinds of stuff. But I mean, I feel like it's the genre that everything else just like falls into, and also you got to think too, the pop stations are what define the Billboard 100 because the pop stations are always going to play top 40. All the stations are playing the top 40 songs across the board. And that defines the Billboard. So I think it's the catch-all. That's just me.
That's a great topic. Obviously, we definitely like more time to talk about it. Let us know your thoughts. Maybe we'll put an article up on Facebook about it. Want to get your guys' thoughts on that because I think it's just a growing question and a growing debate with all the crossover in music, and I'm all for it. I think it's great. Obviously, I feel like artists don't need to be lumped into one specific category, especially not in 2019 in the age of social media, all these young artists out there. So I think it's something to definitely be discussed, and I'm excited to see where music takes, especially after the death of like Nipsey Hussle. Like everyone's kind of past it now. I feel like everyone can like get back to their grind, and I feel like we're going to see a great year of music, and I'm excited, to see what happens.
Yeah, dope.
Dope. That's my word, dope.
I just said it, dope.
Still in my words. Moving on, let's get into our favorite segment, Everything Chicago. So I'm going to start this first topic off here today. I love it. About time. I think this was something that should have happened a long time ago. Kudos to state attorney and prosecutor. Her name is Kim Fox in Chicago, and what she is doing, you can check this out. Is an article posted on theroot.com. She is working to expunge marijuana convictions in Chicago, and not just marijuana convictions in general, marijuana convictions for African Americans. So, of course, it's not a secret. Black people are always disproportionately affected by marijuana convictions, but she basically has big plans to right those wrongs. So she's trying to erase all the pot-related charges of thousands of Chicago residents. Obviously, this cannot all happen at once, but she's still on track to begin wiping clean slates of thousands of minor cannabis convictions in the coming months. But obviously, the long-term play, they're trying to determine how to exactly implement her bold plan. So she did an interview this past week with the Chicago Sun-Times, and her office was also taking a look at her office policy towards prosecuting those arrested for the sale of marijuana. But obviously that review is still in the early stages. So this actually came from the simple fact that the San Francisco District Office Attorney dismissed 8,132 convictions dating back to 1975 with the help of Code of America, which used a computer algorithm to identify cases that were cleared for dismissal after recreational marijuana was legalized in 2016. So what's your thoughts on this? Obviously, I think for me personally, I think it's amazing news. I think this was a long time coming, especially with the legalization of marijuana in many, many states and cities right now. I think this is a great move for the city of Chicago.
Yeah, I love it. It's so nice that Chicago's doing it because not only are other states doing it, like you said, like California is working on it right now. We know Michigan is trying to do this at the state level since recreational marijuana was passed last year. And Chicago, if we're already starting it, that just means that the legalization of marijuana is very, very, very close. So while I think that recreational marijuana charges should be expunged after it is recreationally legal from everyone's record, go ahead and do away with them, right? Like we can't be charging people for things they did in their past for a law that's changed. I think it's very important that we're starting with the African American population right now because as we know, they're arrested at a rate of 4 times more likely to be arrested than their white counterparts. So I'm excited that the change is happening here, and I'm excited that probably marijuana is going to be legal very, 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 very soon. This is like foreshadowing. So good. Get over it because it ruins too many lives arresting them for trivial matters like this. Like catch the people that are really doing wrong things and
for sure.
Leave the potheads alone.
Yeah, and the prisons, jail systems are overcrowded as it is. People don't need to be sitting in jail for marijuana. There's better things they could be doing with their time. I mean, if they need to go like rehab or anyway, let's figure out different options. But having, with the crimes and things in their record, sitting in jail for this, it does not need to happen in 2019. So I'm excited this is happening.
Agreed. Moving on to some other news. It's kind of Chicago, kind of not, but definitely Chicago Bears. So the schedule for the 2019 Chicago Bears season came out, and we are excited for football to come back. And we're also excited that the Chicago Bears are going to be playing the Oakland Raiders in the first ever NFL game at Tottenham's new stadium in London. So it's this huge, amazing stadium that they just built, millions of dollars, state of the art in the UK, and the Bears are going to play the first ever game there against the Raiders. So we'll go ahead and say that it should be a win, and that's very, very, very exciting. I'm very excited to see this. I wish I could be there to see it firsthand.
So hopefully it'll be a win. You just never know when you go travel overseas like that for a game. The jet lag, the weather, conditions are different. It's a neutral field, so you never know like what the crowd's going to be like. Obviously, they're going to be excited that football's there. It's the first ever game, so you just never know the elements of what's going to happen. We're hoping the Bears are going to have a great season. The one thing about NFL that is different than any other sport, you never know how one team is going to be from one year to the next, unless you're the New England Patriots or the Steelers or something like that. Like every year, you could be great one season and then absolutely terrible the next season. So hoping the Bears have a good season. Obviously, it'll be great for the city. I'm not going to promise anything, but it will be dope to see Antonio Brown out there. Obviously, with him being on the Oakland Raiders now too. So I'm excited to see that.
Your boy, Antonio Brown.
What's that?
I said your boy, Antonio Brown.
I know, but he's been tripping lately. I don't know if you've been seeing it with, he's been getting into it
on
with
his
like
Twitter.
Yeah, with like Juju Smith-Schuster and like his teammates and all that too. So I feel like he's just at a point where he kind of needs to just like let that go.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this season he will. He got what he wanted. He got a trade.
Well, yeah. He's just being petty. He needs to let it go. Speaking of the Chicago Bears, tight end Zach Miller briefly has officially announced his retirement from the NFL. Obviously, in October 2017, he had a gruesome knee injury against the New Orleans Saints. I guess he required vascular surgery to repair a damaged artery as a result of the injury, according to ESPN. 2 months later, he was seen in an Instagram video walking slowly, obviously without the assistance of crutches, but he had to have, I think, reported up to 8 surgeries on his leg and did not play a game in the 2018 season. He caught 146 passes for 1,631 yards, 15 touchdowns throughout his career. So kind of unfortunate his career was cut short. I know that season he was actually having a pretty good season, seemed to be on the rise, but did not work out. Obviously, these things happen in the NFL. And hopefully, he made a decent amount of money to where he'll be set, to set up the next phase of his career. But shout out Zach Miller. He has retired from the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. I got the chance to watch him play in Jacksonville because I used to live so close to there. We used to go to Jaguar games, and he was really good. And bringing him over to Chicago was a really, really good move. And that was heartbreaking to watch him get hurt like that and not play at all last year. But we're thankful that he's okay, that he's walking again, and sad to see him go, but excited for what's next for him.
Absolutely.
All right. So in some other exciting news, something maybe fun to you happening in Chicago, there is a Pokemon Go Fest coming to Chicago, to Grant Park. It's a 4-day long event, June 13th to the 16th. Tickets are on sale now, and also they're doing some big giveaways, and there's going to be trainer clubs for kids and for adults, and everybody can just go out to Grant Park and catch all the Pokemon. So be outside
you are going to
Chicago and have their faces glued to their phones. This is what I find interesting about Pokemon Go.
You are definitely going to that.
I have never played Pokemon Go in my life. Straight up. I don't play games like that anyway. I don't play games, period. But
oh, God.
But yeah, Pokemon Go, it's like a big thing apparently still. I don't really know. But I will say when they launched Pokemon Go, it was really, really cool to see like everybody out like walking and doing it. But your faces are still like glued to a phone. So I don't know if that's really like what Michelle Obama thought about when she said to get active,
Yeah, I don't even know how this ended up on our topics list, but hey, it is. We're here now, so it is what it is.
Because it's something interesting coming to Chicago. If anybody plays Pokemon Go, you can go to PokemonGoHub.net and attend this Chicago Fest. And please, please tag us in your pictures because I want to see who shows up to a Pokemon Go Fest. I need to know.
That's hilarious. I'd be shocked if any of our listeners play this. But hey, if whatever floats your boat, if you're happy, I'm happy. Go out and enjoy.
My roommate plays Pokemon Go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is he going to listen to this episode?
I don't know. I'll tell him to now.
That's hilarious.
Shout out to you, Josh.
What up, Josh? Hope all is good. So before we get... That's like funny. Oh, God.
Okay, that was everything Chicago. everything going on in the Windy City. Before we jump into quick hits, we got to thank our sponsors of this episode and our Everything Chicago segment, of course, Showtime's critically acclaimed series, The Chi. All new episodes are back on Sunday, so make sure you catch up on season 1, get caught up on season 2, watch it week to week with a free month of Showtime at showtime.com. You sign up for the free month and then use the promo code ALTERNATIVE so they know that you heard it here. Make sure you go ahead and do that fast because this offer expires May 6th.
Better get on it. Please do. It's a great show. Definitely watch it. I think it's a great season. Season 2 has been awesome so far. So I think they got one with the show. Hopefully they'll keep going season after season. I've been seeing promos all over, like other podcasts promoting the show. So they definitely have done an amazing job so far. Get out, support Sky. And please use our promo code ALTERNATIVE. Make sure that we get credit and you know and they know that we sent you. So, but thank you all for listening. Thank you for watching. And thank you for the support. Now, getting to some quick hits. And this one actually just came out today. And I remember I watched this Coachella set in 2018, our Queen Beyonce. And today she just surprised us with a surprise album called Homecoming, and is based off of her Coachella set. And 2, she dropped a Netflix special related to the entire full concert and experience of her 2018 Coachella set. So this came out today. Obviously, I've had a chance to listen or watch it. I'm definitely checking it out. Will you, though?
Yeah, I'm going to go watch it tonight.
You really are? Or are you just saying that?
No, I actually am going to go home and watch The Chi tonight. But very cool. I'm very excited. I have a question, though. Like, how does Beyonce always get to keep her project secret? Like, I feel like everybody else in the world, like, we always know when they're gonna drop stuff, but like Beyonce's just always just like boom, mic drop, like, oh, it was released today and everything's out and ready to go. Like, how does she always keep her stuff secret?
She has a great PR team. Obviously, people around her, I don't know, they signed some contracts or something to know, like, if any of this ever gets leaked, you're effed. Basically, it's like something has to be up because nothing ever gets out. And I think that's just her aura now, to where she never needs a release date ever again. She's going to sell records or do numbers no matter what. So I'm actually glad she does that, because when she does, it's like very exciting. Like, oh, snap, Beyonce dropped something. Let me go check it out. So I think it's a smart move, and it's working. She
could do like a surprise show at Soldier Field tomorrow and put tickets on sale tonight at midnight, and they would be sold out.
Absolutely.
Straight up. Like, she doesn't even need a PR team. Like, she doesn't need anything.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So shout out Beyonce. Make sure you go check that out. Speaking of music, obviously touching briefly here on Nipsey Hussle. Obviously, it's been a couple of weeks now since his death. This past week was his funeral, and I got to watch some clips of it. Obviously, I was working. I did not get to watch the entire thing, but Tidal broadcasted. I heard it was an amazing, like, the service from beginning to end, the performances, all the speeches, just they sold out the Staples Center. And the great thing about Nipsey Hussle's death is just they portrayed him very well in the media. Normally when, a black man gets killed, they slander him, they talk about his gang, membership and what he did in the past and his legal troubles, but they didn't really do that. So it seemed like in his death, in his actual last, victory lap, it really was his shining moment. And they actually goes to show how big of a presence Nipsey Hussle really had, even this time when we really didn't appreciate it as much when he was alive, which unfortunately happens now. But a couple weeks later, where do you stand on this and moving forward, with the passing of Nipsey Hussle?
Man, it's crazy because obviously, like, the buzz has, like, come down a little bit. I mean, we're still hearing stories here and there, but I see every single day that his songs are still, like, streaming through the roof. Like, everybody is going and checking it out. I mean, I saw older generations on Facebook, online, saying, like, who is Nipsey Hussle? And researching it. So I will say, like, you said this the week before last when it first happened, that is very similar to, like, a Tupac death. And man, I think you really hit right on the nail, because this is somebody that, is definitely going to be more famous in death than he was in life, and that's just because he was on the peak. You know, he was so close to being able to make so much change and do so much for the communities in which he served, and then also in the music industry itself, and the way we thought about things and the way we listen to music and the way we gave back to our community. So he was right there on the brink, and it's sad to say that he's more famous now in death, but you know, I hope that his music touches generations to come the way Tupac's did. So it's interesting. I think it's still, there's a lot of people like close to the cause that are still hurting, but you know, I think it's raised awareness a lot. So it's great.
Absolutely. And he was such a positive person and touched so many people that, you know, the entire hip hop community, you can tell that they were floored. And now we're at a point now to where I think people are just celebrating his life. I think people are more positive about it and motivated by it, as opposed to just sad that he's gone. Like, they know he's in a presence to where he did what he needed to do on earth, and he's just in a better place now. And I think when I mentioned earlier that, you know, the entire hip hop industry is about to go full go, energized, and just ready to have a good year. We can, you know, we're always going to remember Nipsey Hussle and what he's done, but almost put the situation not in the past or behind us, but just know that, you know what, this happened. You know, you're happy for him that he's in a better place, and now you can go on and move on with life and career and motivation, and always remember, you know, the time and the person that he was and the experiences he had with others and just the whole impact he's had on the entire industry. So that's how I feel. We're still going to support him. But yeah, I think it's full go, time to move forward and just keep doing you with you and your family, and just keep being positive and making changes the best way you can, the way that Nipsey Hussle had.
Absolutely. So moving on to some TV news. This past Sunday was the premiere of the first episode of the very last season of HBO's Game of Thrones. Just shattered records, 17.4 million viewers on Sunday across multiple airings, including live streaming. It beat out every show premiere, every season, including its own. It was 2 years in the making. Watchers had to wait 2 years from the season 7 finale until Sunday. I mean, even Twitter was by storm. 5 million tweets during this episode of nuts. Game of Thrones. So were you one of the 17.4 million?
Unfortunately, I was not. I'm not a Game of Throner. I almost watched the first episode of the 8th season just to, because I felt like I was left out. Everyone was tweeting about it. People at work were talking about it. And I was like, you know what? Let me check it out. People were like, no, you cannot just watch season 8, episode 1. You got to start from, you know, episode 1, season 1 and catch up. And I'm like, no, it's not worth it. I'm not doing it. I kind of just missed the whole wave. And I feel like a couple years ago, the show was not as big as it is now. Like, people all over, like, it's Game of Thrones. I'm like, I don't remember anybody talking about Game of Thrones until now. Like, maybe I was like living under a rock or what. So no, I'm not a Game of Thrones. I don't hate on anyone that does. We have like a sales day at work tomorrow, even wrapped around Game of Thrones. I think you have to wear like North Carolina blue, like a shirt with like, I think it's some like Arians team or some like ARRYN's team. I have no idea who it is or what that means, but I'm part of it now. It's taking the world by storm. But what about you?
Wait, did you really just ask me if I watched the TV show?
I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't watch Game of Thrones, and a lot of people like, you know, throw shade at me, and this meme was going around that was like, oh, you don't watch Game of Thrones, and so you're taking this day to tell the world that you don't watch Game of Thrones. Like, how special are you, or whatever.
Right.
Comparing people that don't watch Game of Thrones to vegans who just like can't stop talking about the fact that they don't watch Game of Thrones, and like that really hurt my feelings because a lot of people sent it to me and you know, targeted me for not watching it. But I just like, my PSA that I've said before, and I'll say again, is that everybody is allowed to like different things. And I don't shame anybody for watching Game of Thrones, but I cannot sit still that long and watch it. So I don't watch it. I don't watch it.
It's just not for me. I don't know. I feel like just the whole genre is just, I don't know. I'm not hating on anyone that does, but, and my homie Steve was like, you don't know what real TV shows are like because you don't watch Game of Thrones. I'm like, hey, don't come at me. I just never watched it. I'm not hating on anyone that does.
They're like so defensive. Like, they get so mad. And when you ask them, you're like, what's so great about Game of Thrones? And they're like, it has dragons, and it has swords, and it has fighting. And I'm like, so does Shrek. I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
I'd rather watch WWE, though. But that's just me. That's just me, though. So,
well, another thing about fantasy.
oh God. Moving on, back to little Nipsey Hussle, not specifically him, but we're gonna talk a little about Kodak Black briefly. And obviously he made comments about Lauren London and how she's gonna be a widow, and obviously he's gonna want to go after Laura London. He said in a year's time he's gonna give her time to grieve. Obviously, many people in hip hop kind of came at his throat saying, what are you doing? Obviously, the game came after him. Tank came after him. Most importantly, T.I. came after him. And even as a rumor, there's been tips coming out about a diss song from T.I. against Kodak Black. I heard Kodak Black has already dropped a diss song in response to him. So above all that, outside of even what Kodak Black said, boy, does T.I. have any business feuding with this kid right now?
No. I mean, yes. Wait, does he have business?
Yeah, does he have business feuding with this kid?
I mean,
no.
Why? Why no? Why
because
are you asking
T.I. should be because it's ridiculous. Why is T.I. feuding with this kid? Let that kid be a kid. Let him be a kid. T.I. All right, so T.I. should be at a place in his career where he's seen almost as a point like legendary status. Not like making a diss track at some little punk kid who isn't going to listen to you anyway, who doesn't care about what you really think. He's even said publicly that he hates older people. So, like, he doesn't care. He's only doing it for clout. He just doesn't really care. Like, T.I. should be above it in his career to be making diss tracks. And now to the point to where Kodak Black is now, like, dissing his wife, calling Tiny ugly, dissing his kids. So it's like, now let's put T.I. in a position. It's like, what are you really going to do about it? Are you really going to retaliate? Are you going to try to fight him? Are you going to try to get him shot after Nipsey Hussle's death? Like, it's a no-win situation for T.I. to where Kodak Black is just going to be him. T.I. should be above this. He should not be messing with Kodak Black. I don't know what you think, but I feel like he's being silly right now. He should just let this go.
I mean, I don't know, but, like, at the same time, like, don't you feel like somebody should have checked Kodak Black? Like, maybe it shouldn't have been T.I. Maybe it should have been somebody younger. You're right. He's not going to listen to T.I., but at the same time, like, how dare Kodak Black even say this? Like, come on. It's so fucking disrespectful. Like, who goes after people like this? Like, first of all, Kodak Black is ugly. And second of all, like, Lauren London was with Nipsey Hussle. Like, he is a stand-up guy in his community. Like, who are you to her? And no, I mean, nobody checked him. Nobody said anything. Nobody was like, that was inappropriate. And I get that he's going to be the way he is. But, like, at the same time, kudos to T.I. for saying something. And he did say in an interview, or not an interview, sorry, on his Instagram Live, he said, I came after Kodak the way he would have came after me. And it was true. Kodak Black would have said something. Anybody else would have said something. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter to me either way. I don't have a personal relationship to either one of them. But at the same time, like, kudos to somebody for saying something, because
that's fair, but the diss songs like and now we're going back and forth. Like, really, I get what you're saying, but
yeah,
come on.
I mean, but is T.I.'s legacy really gonna go down? Like, Kodak Black could drop like the nastiest diss, okay, and it could be so much better than T.I.'s, like, whatever. But, like, is anybody really gonna think differently of T.I. or differently than Kodak Black? No, like, T.I. is T.I. T.I.'s Rubber Band Man, and Kodak Black's a joke, and that's gonna be the end of it. So,
all right, well, you got it there, but hopefully it doesn't go too far, because I think T.I. should be way above this. But you know what? I'll enjoy the entertainment while it lasts.
Anything that happens is not going to affect his legacy. Like, it is.
As long as no violence is involved. So I'm with you on that.
That's true. Sure. That's true. We got to think about that, because Kodak Black is crazy.
And so is T.I. He's crazy.
That's true. He's my favorite, though. I love T.I. I've seen him live like 3 times. He's one of my all-time favorites. So
I agree with that.
I got to side with him regardless.
Facts.
All right, moving on to some basketball news. NBA playoffs are upon us. What is the most exciting first-round matchup to you?
Well, so normally first-round matchups in the NBA suck. We're going to talk a little bit about hockey here in a little bit, but NBA is usually pretty cookie-cutter. Like, all the best teams win. They win in blowouts. So first round really isn't that exciting. Like, my Detroit Pistons in game 1 got absolutely destroyed. Mm-hmm. They're playing here in game 2 here shortly. Hopefully they do a little bit better. I'm going to watch it after we record this podcast. But in terms of what might be the most intriguing, I had really no answer for it until the Clippers came back from 31 points down in the first round in Game 2 to Golden State, ended up winning. It's making it an intriguing series only for the simple fact of Patrick Beverley getting in the head of Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant should be much bigger than what he's showing in terms of like keeping his cool and being the MVP, and being like the second best player in the world. I mean, he got ejected from the first game. He fouled out of the second game. So already hurting his team. I think it's going to create a different dynamic in the series. I do think Golden State is still going to win, but I think now all of their games are must-watch. The shitty part about it is they play on the West Coast, and they don't start till like 10:30 every night, and I cannot stay up till 1:30, 2 o'clock on a weeknight trying to watch an NBA basketball game. I just can't do it. I need my rest, but unless it's the weekend. So I think that's the most intriguing as of right now. Honestly, there really isn't much else. I do like the Brooklyn Nets and Philadelphia series. I would love if Brooklyn won, but we'll see what happens. But first round, not that exciting to me. And I'm sure you probably haven't watched yet, but what's your thoughts?
No, I honestly really have not watched basketball at all because I was so sick last week. But I will say what has been interesting to me is the Philly and Brooklyn thing going on, because obviously there's 4 games against each other in the regular season. They were tied 2-2, and then all the games were super close. Brooklyn just kind of come out of nowhere, which has been nuts. Which, if you remember, if you go back and listen, I actually said before the NBA season started that they were going to have a good season, and you trashed me. And they didn't have a great season, but they had an interesting season, and now all of a sudden they're in the playoffs. So it's just interesting to see that they I feel like they could have done better. But anyway, now we're tied in the first round of the playoffs, game 1-1, and I would like to see them beat Philly really bad. So I guess that's kind of what I'm watching at the moment.
You know what? I would too. So I'm rooting for them. We will shall see what happens. We got more games tonight, so it'll be interesting to see how the next week unfolds. Next, we get into a little bit of politics. Haven't talked about that too much. Early favorites for the Democratic nominations for the upcoming presidential election see that Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, as of right now, seem to be the top 2 leading candidates. Are we excited about that? Of the two, who do you think would give Donald Trump a run for his money?
You know, I actually always really liked Joe Biden. As you know, obviously when he was with Barack. So I think that's really interesting that he's announced his candidacy. He's also a little bit older.
Right.
So it's just interesting that we have like old white men running for president again.
Right.
Like, nobody stepped up and decided to be against the status quo. I thought this was going to be the year. No, but really, honestly, I still know a lot of people who are supporting Bernie Sanders, and we've talked about this multiple times, which is just so freaking funny, but I still think he's too old, and I don't know about all that, but I actually think Joe Biden has a really good chance if all goes well. I mean, obviously, someone is going to have to run against Trump, and it's going to be a crazy race, but I think Joe Biden has what it takes if it had to choose between one of them.
I think so, too. Like, I've always liked Joe Biden. I think he had a good personality. He's obviously on the older side. Bernie Sanders is really on the older side. But I think of the two, I feel like Joe Biden would give a much better run in terms of actually beating him, since obviously he worked with Obama. He came from that camp. Obama did pretty good as the president. I think of the two, he has a better chance. Honestly, right now, with the way we are in the times, I feel like there's still so many people. You think they would switch up. There's still a lot of people who support Donald Trump that deep down my gut says I don't think any of the two beat Donald Trump. And I feel like that's why almost like the real candidate, which I don't even know who that is, I feel like the real candidate for the Democratic Party is not running right now. So I feel like even that person knows that Donald Trump may get reelected. I hope I'm wrong on this, but right now I don't see either of them beating Donald Trump.
Don't say that.
I know. I'm just trying to be a realist. I try to be real here, but that just sounds nuts to think. So we'll see what happens.
I feel you. All right, moving on to some music news. So Coachella weekend 1 just happened this past weekend. Tons of people came out. It was all over Snapchat. All the stars were there. Really big deal. And Ariana Grande brought out NSYNC to perform with her, minus JT, because obviously he is too busy. It was an awesome performance. Went completely viral. Very, very cool that she did that. Are you team NSYNC or are you team Backstreet Boys?
Yeah, so first of all, where the hell is Justin Timberlake? You cannot do an NSYNC reunion without Justin Timberlake. Like, bro, I'm sure JC was happy because for once he got to be the man of the group, but no, there is no NSYNC without Justin Timberlake. But if we're looking at the past, going back to like the TRL days, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, 98 Degrees, they were all famous. Remember that group O-Town? I don't know if you remember that.
Oh,
They
yeah,
were a
yeah,
big boy band, but I would have to. I was
98
more.
Degrees. They were there
Yes,
too.
yes. There was another one. It was like a group of three. I cannot LFO or something like that.
Oh yeah, they weren't three. Were they three?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it was three of them. I think each
There was
one was like
Hanson too.
LFO. Hanson, yeah, it wasn't a big. Oh god, horrible song. Hated that song. But I'm gonna go Backstreet Boys. For some reason, I was just partial to them. Like now, looking back, I probably would rock with NSYNC. But back at the time, I don't know. It was something that Backstreet Boys. I was always like, whenever like the TRL countdown came on, I'd be pissed if like Backstreet Boys was number 2 and like NSYNC was number 1. I don't know why. Like it moved me, but I'd be freaking pissed. So no, I was always team Backstreet Boys. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I actually really was team Backstreet Boys too. I liked NSYNC. I was cool with them, but like me and my brother and my mom, like we always listened to Backstreet Boys. Like we had the cassette and we would put it in when we would go places, and we would always like rock out. And I actually really liked the Backstreet Boys better. NSYNC definitely had more hits, but I was always team Backstreet Boys.
Facts. We'll put up a poll too before the end of the week to get your thoughts. You know, team Backstreet Boys, team NSYNC. I think it's always gonna be a never-ending battle. It's always fun. It always gets people talking because hey, they were both legendary groups. But yeah, team Backstreet Boys, obviously, for the both of us.
Word.
Lastly, gotta talk about this before we get into Clown of the Week. They almost were the Clown of the Week, but Tampa Bay Lightning. For those who are listeners of the show who do watch hockey, I do know we have some out there according to Twitter. Man, so first round of the playoffs, Tampa Bay this past season had tied for the greatest regular season record in NHL history. Not just of this season or of past seasons, of all time. They won the President's Cup, won well over 60 games, by far the number 1 seed. Everyone just predicted and expected that the Lightning would not only make the Stanley Cup Finals, but win it. But of course, life happens, and they got swept by the Columbus Blue Jackets, losing 4-0. They lost again last night. Is this the greatest choke job in the history of all of sports in your mind?
I mean, it's probably pretty high up there. I obviously don't care about that game or didn't watch it. So, I mean, I can't say it was the biggest in sports, and sports has been going on for a long time. But the one that sticks out to me that happened was the 2000 NBA Western Conference Finals. It was the Portland Trailblazers versus LA, Scottie Pippen and Kobe. And, Trailblazers were ahead by 15. And then the fourth quarter, they didn't score one basket, and LA came back and won. So that's one of the biggest ones in history to me, but that's also probably because it was like Pippen and Kobe, and that was like really integral. But that's the one that sticks out in my mind.
That's actually a good one. I actually totally forgot about that. I remember a couple meltdowns by the Detroit Red Wings back in the 90s. Like, they used to be the number 1 seed, and I think for like 1 year they lost to the San Jose Sharks, like 1 versus AC. So I feel like as a kid growing up, that was one that I can remember. But outside of that, I think hockey is like the one sport where an 8 seed can actually lose or actually beat, a 1 seed. It does not happen often. Like basketball, it rarely ever happens. Like you see like the Pistons getting destroyed by Milwaukee. The parity is just like so far. You just don't see it often, to where in hockey, like these things happen like quite a bit. But actually to go from the best record of all time to this, right now, I could be a prisoner of the moment. But that's a huge, huge collapse of something that didn't happen. Tampa fans are pissed. They want the coach to be fired when the coach just got a contract extension. So I don't think he's going to be fired, but I think that was a huge choke job. You cannot do that. I think that's just embarrassing.
Well, and I love when people act like it's the coach's fault, right? Like,
I mean, what was he doing? Did he not get him ready to play, or what happened?
Right. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into a loss, like, and everybody's like, oh my God, fire the coach. Like, come on. Other things happen that day.
Good stuff. We'll see.
We'll see.
Clown of the Week time or what?
Yep, let's do it.
I think your first is time.
Am I?
Yep.
Okay, so my clown of the week goes to someone that we actually talked about earlier on the show and commended, which is Kim Fox, state attorney and prosecutor here in the city of Chicago. As you know, she was the prosecutor against Jussie Smollett in his case, and she's been very, very active on that case. Well, she had some text messages just recently leaked where she was basically comparing the R. Kelly scandal and the Jussie Smollett scandal, and she said, pedophile with 4 victims, 10 counts, washed up celeb who lied to cops, 16 counts. And I just feel like she was saying that that was ridiculous, that Jussie Smollett got charged with 16 counts over what he did, which if you listened to episodes ago, I'm very passionate about how messed up the Jussie Smollett thing was. I think that he did the whole city a disservice. But also, I just feel like to even compare these things in any kind of level, like I get that she was saying that R. Kelly's was worse, but like, I feel like you need to do better, Kim Fox. Like if you are in the media here in Chicago and you are working so hard for the Black community and you are trying to do so many things and make so many innovations and do all this good, like you don't need to be texting anybody comparing these two cases whatsoever. And not to mention that she was the one that came out after the Jussie Smollett sentencing never happened, right? And all the charges were dropped. And she said, this is what a normal person would have gotten charged with. So what is he? Is he a normal person? Is he a washed up actor? Does it even matter? Like, I just feel like all of her thoughts are confused and she needs to just keep her text messages on lockdown. Like, don't let your stuff go leaked anymore, because this really just questions like all my thought processes about you and whether or not I respect anything that you're doing.
Absolutely. I've never really been a big fan, so this kind of almost confirms it.
Right. Without a doubt. So she is my clown of the week. I just need her to be quiet for a little bit, I think, and work on doing good stuff for the city and not
definitely.
not
I
be in the
definitely agree
limelight.
with that. Actually, at least she's trying to get the marijuana situation expunged. That's a start, but other than that, yeah, go away.
Exactly. All right.
My clown of the week goes to Fox News host Laura Ingraham. I assume, maybe not, but I assume you all have heard of this by now. But obviously with Nipsey Hussle's passing, one day after the memorial service for the 33-year-old rap star, that same day, Laura Ingraham zeroed in on a song that YG and Nipsey Hussle had called FTD. And basically she used that song to kind of offer her own laughter-filled analysis of his legacy last week, basically referring to Hussle ironically as this dear artist in the clip that she showed, and showed a clip of the FTT video and focused on the song's chorus, which obviously makes fun of and disparages Donald Trump with the, obviously, F Donald Trump. And she's saying that this chorus goes on and on. Is that related to the lowest unemployment rate ever, basically, for African Americans? So I don't know what the correlation was, like why she basically used that moment to almost laugh at the death of Nipsey Hussle. But at that same note, there has been a ton of backlash from like many people in the media saying that this person, obviously Snoop Dogg, I think The Game, like many others have came out. Tory Lanez has come out and said that she should be removed from Fox News, and not just removed, but she should be fired for being so unprofessional. And not even just that, like right after someone's death, to basically be mocking their death and trying to like turn it around on African Americans when she knows what the song means and what it represents, but basically just like whitewashing his entire situation and making fun of it. It's just not called for. And I don't know if obviously on Fox News they do these things on purpose for clickbait or to get people talking. I don't know. But enough's enough. Things go too far. And I do agree. I think she should be removed off air for that. And if people keep complaining about enough, maybe something will happen. But for now, Laura, that was horrible. And you did get the clown of the week. That was trash.
That is trash. Fox News is trash. They should be clown of the week too, every week.
Yeah, they're off the chain, man. Like some of the things that they do on there is nuts.
Crazy.
That was a good show. Glad to be back. Obviously, we missed a couple weeks, but got a lot covered. So that was awesome. I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm glad you're healthy or getting healthy. And what's going on in Chicago? Is the weather good there, or what's going on right now?
Yeah, it actually was supposed to be raining like now, but I'm in my office and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So that's exciting. The weather has been nice. I mean, it's still, April, so still a little chilly, but no, we did have that thunder snow Sunday.
Saw that.
Yeah, that was rough. But I was sick in bed all day, so it did not affect me one bit. Except for the fact that Maddox, my dog, is really, really scared of thunder and scared of snow. So that was a rough day for us. But what is he not scared of? You know?
He is scared of everything.
It's
He's
just
scared of life.
It's just one of those things. Yeah, he's
still chilling though.
Yeah, he's
Awesome,
doing something.
awesome.
I don't know what he's doing right now, but he's doing something.
Awesome. Well, thanks for listening. We appreciate you all. This has been episode 85. We're glad to be 85 episodes in. We will be back next week with more great content. So we thank you all for the support. Me and Chicago's #1 podcast. So we're going to get up out of here. This is B.Hun.
And Cait.
All right. And we'll see you all next week. We love you. It's Alternative Fact Chicago. And we are out.
Bye.
Peace.